AOC was at this committee hearing talking about Planned Parenthood, and for some reason she said that Planned Parenthood, catch this, saves lives somehow. Somehow she's making a statement here. So let's go through a little bit about what she's saying. Why and how is she making this claim? So she goes on starting off and says, I don't want to hear a single person on this committee or outside of this committee talk about what about valuing life when they continue to uphold the death penalty, when they continue to support policies that disproportionately incarcerate and lead to the deaths of black men and people throughout this country, and uphold an absolutely unjust medical system that exists for profit, that allows people to die because they can't afford to live. She went on to say, in addition to that, if we want to talk about Planned Parenthood, let's talk about how many lives Planned Parenthood has saved and how many babies have been born because of the prenatal care provided by Planned Parenthood. So once again, let's go through a little bit about what she's talking about here in this thing. Basically saying, well, I don't want to hear about anything, anybody talking about saving lives or caring about lives when you allow for the death penalty. Okay, I mean, that's a massive false equivalence already, but let's be honest here. The death penalty occurs because of the fact of somebody, it's a form of punishment. It's somebody that has done some egregious, heinous act, like killing bunches of people, whatever it is, and then they can get sentenced to death. Now, you may agree with that law. You may not agree with that law. There's many different forms of looking at that and for different people. But that's kind of irrelevant to the point here. Because regardless, the death penalty is objectively a form of punishment. Why are we punishing an innocent baby that's done nothing wrong? How in the world can you conflate those two things? I mean, it couldn't be more egregious than that. So then she goes and she says, well, you're incarcerating these black men. Oh, you mean like Joe Biden, who drafted the 1994 crime bill? Or are you talking about Kamala Harris, who also jailed more black men than any other DA in California for all those years? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me who you're talking about incarcerating black people. The people that have been most iconic for literally arresting black men for petty drug crimes were the two people that are running this country right now. The two highest names in the land. Let's not forget about that. And the fact is, too, when she goes on about healthcare, nobody has ever claimed that our healthcare system is perfect. No healthcare system is perfect. However, what we're simply saying is, okay, well, you can either pay more money and be able to get that surgery that you want to get, or you can have the alternative where it's free, but you might be on a waiting list for 3 to 5 years, and you might die in the process of getting no care at all because you can't get through. Is that fair? Which one is more ethical? One that bills you later and still allows you to get a surgery done that you need to get done that saves your life? Or one that you have to sit on a waiting list for all those years because you can't do it? Oh, and if you want to go somewhere to actually get it, to get that surgery, you happen to have the money for it, you got to go out of the country because Democrats are looking at trying to abolish any kind of private health care in the country if they push through this social health care. So once again, you tell me which one is more actual ethical in this situation. But she goes on to say, and she says, and if you don't believe it, and if you've never met a Planned Parenthood baby, I'm happy to let you know that I am one, and that my mother received and relied on prenatal care from Planned Parenthood when she was pregnant with me, she claimed. And so if you're concerned about life, we don't get to talk about anyone else's who's not concerned about the full spectrum of that when we are upholding policies that kill people. So let's keep in mind, by the way, the Heritage Foundation just released a report last year saying that the number of abortions that Planned Parenthood performed from October 1st, 2017 to September 30th, 2018, just in a year's time, was 345,672 abortions. So almost 350,000 abortions in 1 year. And she's talking about them saving lives. Number one, she never said anything about what Planned Parenthood did to save her life. Just because you're going to the doctor's office doesn't mean they're literally saving your life or, whatever and all the rest of this craziness and whatnot. I mean, look, did it have to be there? Could it have been somewhere else? I'm sure it could have been. And the thing is that we know that Planned Parenthood does other things other than abortions. We know what that is. But when we looked at their actual sheets showing the percentages of what it is, I mean, we're talking single digits for people that are there for things other than an abortion. The vast, vast, vast majority of the things that Planned Parenthood does is perform abortions. And looking at this number, at 350,000 abortions over the course of a year, should tell you everything you need to know about that. So if we're going to be talking about saving lives and all these things like that, once again, let's focus on the facts, because I don't see anything in AOC's numbers showing that, besides her anecdotal experience or knowledge of herself or whatever, is not enough to combat the 350,000 babies that did lose their actual lives over the course of just 1 year. So I don't see how that makes actually any sense at all, or how that really proves her case whatsoever. It doesn't work that way. That's not how numbers work. What the numbers that we do have show the complete opposite. Planned Parenthood is a extremely evil organization. They're actually strategically placed in a lot of minority black communities. More black people get abortions than any other race of women out there right now. Why in the world is it that she's refusing to ignore that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. The Black Lives Matter, you hear this all the time, but where is it at in here? Apparently they don't matter when it comes down to abortions, I guess. I don't know.